Yo, you're probably a racist. Don't even like this video. No, really. It's fake news, satire, reality television, clickbait, plagiarized, regurgitated social media propaganda. I don't even own the rights. You know who does? Doesn't matter. Flag this post.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
You know, we still have great comedy out there. There's always rambling Joe Biden. What the
protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. People that were very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I disavowed David Duke, and I disavowed him the day before at a major news conference, which is surprising because he was at the major news conference. CNN was at the major news conference, and they heard me very easily disavow David Duke.
Unchained! They're going to put you all back in chains.
Come here, goat. Sit down.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing to do that.
What are your views on the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists?
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke.
That shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said,
Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked. Done.
Done.
He's run for president twice before, unsuccessfully. He's never before been the front runner.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump.
How do you feel about the recent endorsement from David Duke?
I didn't even know he endorsed me. David Duke endorsed me? No. All right. I disavow, okay?
What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Joe says shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No.
Right after that, I also disavowed David Duke. When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
David Duke.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions.
And because of a corrupt system that exists in Mexico, I voted for a fence. I voted, unlike most Democrats, and some of you won't like it, I voted for 700-mile fence. And you will not like this. And punish American employers who knowingly violate the law when, in fact, they hire illegals. But they're the facts. People are driving across that border with tons, hear me, tons of everything from byproducts from methamphetamine to cocaine to heroin. And it's all coming up through corrupt Mexico.
In the good old days, law enforcement acted a lot quicker than this.
I put out this tweet saying, as I stated at the press conference on Friday regarding David Duke, I disavow.
I won't say fairly. I have a very strong view relating to the matter to which you spoke last, and that is the hiring of undocumented workers. The immigration law, when did you first hire an unauthorized worker?
When I put out that I reject the KKK and David Duke, nobody picks it up. You know why they're not? Because they don't want to pick it up. Now, I have been asked this question so many times. I have rejected it so many times.
In a series of never-before-published letters reviewed by CNN, the strength of Biden's opposition to busing comes into sharper focus.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No. Did you apologize for that?
He's going to have to make that decision. But, let's be very clear. The senators that he is speaking of with such adoration are individuals who made and built their reputation on segregation. The Ku Klux Klan celebrated the election of one of them. So this is a very serious matter.
Hate groups are not for me. But I've said this before. The press hates me to say it. They just don't want to pick it up.
We are a country that stands united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms.
Joe is like her uncle who's got a new drug and hasn't got the dosage right.
No, I haven't taken the test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh?
Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America.
So the question facing Biden is how he reconciles nearly a half century in public life with today's Democratic Party. Of course, Jake, one of his biggest pieces of experience is that experience in long record. That also is one of his biggest challenges.
Even call centers was rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your...
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Oh, it's gigantic.
The blinders have been taken off. They've all of a sudden seen a hell of a lot clearer. They've seen, geez, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf.
Problems that the Democratic Party's having right now with this Joe Biden guy. You guys got to be able to call it out. You can't let this slide because everybody else sees it, and Trump is going to eat him alive. He's going to eat that guy alive. The guy can barely remember what he's talking about while he's talking.
Free from violence, hatred, and fear. We want our country to be a place where every child from every background can grow up free from fear, innocent of hatred. There must be no tolerance for anti-Semitism in America. We must never ignore the vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed.
Well, how do you know that you're walking in the right direction?
Walk by faith, not by sight.
What does that mean?
It means that you know something even if you don't know something.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. It's faith. It's faith. It's the flower of light in the field of darkness is giving me the strength to carry on. You understand?
Is that from your book?
No, it's Johnny Cash, Live at Old Free Prison.
Hashtag powered by God. Hashtag connect. Here at More on That in a Moment.